So welcome everybody, and thank you so much for being here to support this program. And nice to see everyone. Nice to see everyone. And as you just heard, we do record these. So if later you want to go back and revisit, or if you missed one of the sessions, if you just came in today to the fourth one for the first time, you can go back and watch the first three. If you want to share it with other people, you can do that as well. So, and I encourage everybody to, if you're not a member of Zen Peacemakers, please join. It's free. It takes 30 seconds to just click, click, click. But be sure to subscribe to the newsletter so you'll know about more of these things coming up in the future. And with that, once again, I'm going to thank Genjo for doing this. This is really just a rich offering, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So I'm going to thank Genjo and turn the microphone over to him. Thank you all for being here. What a great group.
Nice to see everyone, and I see some friends of mine from Germany and Deutschland and England and Santa Rosa, all over the place. Anyway, it's been my custom to start with a little bit of guided meditation, something I kind of say to myself whenever I sit to do some meditation. I am going to ask that if it's possible for you to turn on your camera so I can see who I'm talking to, that would be great if you haven't already turned it on. So take your seat and find a position in which you can feel like your tailbone is planted deep into the center of our planet, right into Mother Earth, like we are a blossom of Mother Earth as an earthling, and raise our spines like an antenna towards the heavens, helping us recognize that between heaven and earth is our own center of gravity. And we want to rest in our own center of gravity, and from there observe the world inside and outside our physical form, just as it is, with no need to add or subtract, to amplify or diminish, to judge or analyze. Instead, allow any room that you're in to be a symphony hall. And we're the audience that is observing the symphony of now, listening on all channels of perception to this symphony, not closing any sense organ, leaving my eyes a little bit open, and just letting the song of this moment of eternity sing to us, including recognizing our own thoughts, interior thoughts, feelings, and sensations, and allowing all of the notes of the symphony of now to come and go and wash right over and through us. And as we sit and breathe and listen on all channels of perception, we're also going to watch gently for the silence, the stillness, the quiet power between and within each note. In this background and omnipresent quiet, we're all being held and nurtured and restored. And as our heart minds begin to open to each other, making one huge heart mind of body and soul and mind, may we join with all other open and well-rooted heart minds around the globe to embrace our very troubled world and our own journeys of trials and tribulations and joys and sorrows with a gentle, loving presence. Sit, breathe, and listen. Thank you all. Let's make a little bow to each other. So today we're jumping to the fifth Zen Ox picture in this series. And for anyone that's new, please understand that even though it looks like a linear path from the first picture to the 10th picture, and it sometimes happens like that, it can really move in any order. And even when we arrive, we find that we begin again, and that there's no sense of completion in this 10 Zen Ox pictures. There's just a sense of moving through the pictures, kind of like an expanding circle, a little bit like maybe walking a labyrinth where you get to the center and then you work your way out and you get to the center again. You know, on one end we feel pretty lost, and on the other end we feel pretty found. But that's a mixed thing. That can happen within seconds. We can feel lost, and within seconds we can feel found. So there's a kind of radiance to this whole 10 pictures that is happening all the time, or you can switch channels from one to the other all the time. And I'm going to drop into the chat now a copy that I'm using for the translation of the Zen Ox pictures and the pictures themselves. And I'm going to share on the screen momentarily the picture that we're examining today. But I want to talk about also the relevance of this circular path of sometimes feeling found and sometimes feeling lost in our journey of life, facing the trials and tribulations, personal and collective. When we are walking some kind of spiritual path that we define for ourselves, and we find something that works, we become more grounded, more consistently, not all the time. We're not looking for or expecting any kind of perfection. But when we're more grounded more of the time, we are more capable of facing the trouble of this life and death journey, personally and collectively, with some peace of mind that will come in really useful when things are particularly troubled. Certainly in my lifetime, collectively, it's never felt more troubling. And I'm sure that the people who survived the Great Depression or World War I or World War II or McCarthyism or innumerable other events around the world that are much more horrendous than I'm personally suffering at the moment, for example, that being able to be grounded in the midst of a storm is helpful. And in some ways we're in a terrible storm, and in some ways not much of a storm compared to some locations around the world right now. I've often said to people, what kind of character would you like to be with if you were in a lifeboat with few rations and little hope of being rescued? What kind of character traits would you like of your fellow travelers in such a boat? And have you found ways to develop those kind of characteristics yourself? So that if you found yourself in that situation, I found myself in that situation, would I be the kind of character I would want to be, or want to be with me in a boat with little chance of survival? All right, I'm going to share the screen of today's picture. Let me pull that up. And what we see in the drawing is, let's see if I can get it a little bigger, is the sixth Zen Ox picture titled Riding an Ox, and we see someone without reins, playing a flute, sitting astride an ox. And the verse is as follows: riding the ox, slowly I return homeward. The voice of my flute intones through the evening. Measuring with hand beats the pulsing harmony, I direct the endless rhythm. Whoever hears this melody will join me. And then a commentary. The struggle is over. Gain and loss are assimilated. I sing the song of the village woodman, and I play the tunes of the children. Astride the ox, I observe the clouds above. Onward I go, no matter who may wish to call me back. All right, and I'm going to share once more the document because some other people have come on board and they won't get it. But so that you can have it right here, and also so that you can watch these verses and bring them up on your screen independently of the Zoom window. Okay, we have now arrived in the sequence of the Zen Ox pictures in what I would call the four views. This picture and the next three pictures are the four views of what we call enlightenment, or full heart-mind opening, something like that, awakening. And as I described last time, this is a little like if yourself is like a house and you had windows and you threw up the window sash in the north direction, in the west direction, in the east direction, and in the south direction, you would see all of outside. And the 10th picture is stepping out of the house. That's how I look at it. So this is one window that we're throwing up. And I'll call it, I could call it any direction I want, but I'll call it the west window. So we're throwing up the west window and we're looking outside. And what does it look like? To be outside of our narrow sense of self. And it looks a little like this picture of astride riding an ox, playing a flute, and being carried by your deep nature. The ox is a symbol for your deep nature, my deep nature, everyone's deep nature. No one is excluded. There's nothing to attain. We all have a deep nature. But when we learn how to just go for a ride on our deep nature, that gives you this picture where we are able to just play a flute and just be carried in any direction deep nature wants to take us. And we're quite comfortable being riding along and just going on the journey. And it also represents this playing the flute is the condition referred to as samadhi. And I'm going to define samadhi this way. Samadhi is the being in harmonious, any harmonious action. So I might be sitting harmoniously, or I might be walking harmoniously, or I might be kayaking harmoniously, or I might be riding a bike harmoniously, or I might be cleaning the dishes harmoniously, or I might be playing a flute harmoniously, where I disappear kind of in the activity, where I'm gardening and I'm not thinking about myself or the world, I'm just gardening, and the garden and I are one. The flute and I are one. The bike and I are one. The cushion I'm sitting on when I'm doing seated meditation and I are one. There's no sense of separation. There's even no sense of self. There's no active analysis or judgment. There's just the music of doing whatever activity you happen to be engaged in. And that's a kind of enlightenment right there. It's the enlightenment of being in harmony with whatever activity you're engaged in. We have here in Seattle, we've got the I-5 main corridor freeway shut down over the weekend, and it caused traffic throughout the city to be awful. And I had to drive in some of it. My daughter and I went to a concert, and we watched some klezmer music being played by a kind of jazz klezmer band. It was wonderful, out on a hill nearby in the park. And so the driving to and from my daughter's house was complicated, and but I enjoy driving. I love to drive. I used to fly airplanes for 30 years. I love to fly. I ride a bike down to a place called Seward Park here in Seattle, and I try to ride all the way around the park without holding on to the handlebars. And then I am like this 70-year-old astride the ox playing his flute, going around the park. Just my balance is holding the bike in its path, going around the park, the whole circle of about 4 miles. And that's a delight, that feeling of being sort of cruising, or in the groove, or when an action becomes so natural and so free, it becomes a happening. And I think we all know what that is. And we know that that's a kind of enlightenment. It's just not that far away. It's not that, there's nothing magical or hard to come by. But I can tell you that the more samadhi we have in our day, the more we're going to feel kind and compassionate, clear and caring in the world. And your day is going to be a good day if it's got some samadhi in it. There's no way around that. I mean, if you fall into samadhi while on the cushion, or sitting on a park bench, or riding a bike, or cleaning the dishes, or preparing a meal, and you're in samadhi and you lose yourself in that activity, there's such a restorative joy that just bubbles up naturally, that you are going to find that you are a kinder, more caring person to yourself and the world. And that you have a bit more clarity about how to proceed in the midst of trials and tribulations and trouble. And that's the truth. So the more we open this, I'm going to call it the west window, and breathe the air of this west window, we're going to look at the north window, the south window, and the east window, and then we're going to step out of the house by the time we get to number 10, is that we really can, through practice, through practice, have more samadhi in our lives. So one of the things about Zen meditation, it's very simple: sit, breathe, and listen. But I mean, that's the basic instructions: sit, breathe, listen, look, something like that. But it's difficult because we're such complicated creatures. I mean, let's face it, we are the most probably complicated composition of stardust in a whole quadrant of the galaxy. And all of our complications begin to arise when we just sit and breathe and listen. You're going to encounter, yes, the sound of the wind or the rain and or the feel the sun, or if you're looking out the window, you might see the moon. Yes, and you'll hear the symphony of now and the background nurturing silence that is an intimate, infinite, nurturing silence, and then you'll be restored. But you're also going to encounter just how completely complicated and often screwed up we are. You know, all of the karmic baggage that we're carrying from our family of origin or our culture begins to appear. And learning how to be in samadhi in the midst of doing something as simple as meditation, it's tremendously simple, but actually quite difficult to get into the groove and just be in the flow when doing nothing more than just sitting. It's frankly much easier to do it while kayaking or biking or even driving a car in traffic. It's easier to do find samadhi then than it is on the cushion. That's my take on it anyway. And but the beautiful thing is that if you can manage in the midst of your own complexity to find how to be in the groove or in samadhi or disappear while on the cushion, that's a foundation which can then begin to be applied to more and more places in our life. In other words, it makes samadhi easier when doing the dishes or cleaning the floor or working in the garden or preparing a meal or riding a bike or being in traffic or dealing with something more complex or playing an instrument or doing some sort of art where you lose yourself. I can absolutely promise you that if you have figured out how to be in the groove while sitting, that being in the groove anywhere else becomes easier. So that's what this picture is about. It's about entering samadhi where we disappear and the music just appears. It just seems to flow from it. It becomes, the activity becomes as simple as water going downhill, as simple as your own heart beating, where you don't have to think about it. It just is a happening. But it's a conscious happening, as in there's a certain very adult awareness that goes along with riding my bike, and a childlike awareness too. Riding my bike without holding my hands going around the park, or when I'm in the groove, driving through traffic, or I'm in the groove playing the piano, or I'm in the groove flying an airplane, or I'm in the groove preparing a meal. And when I disappear, fall away in some activity, then I am demonstrating this sixth Zen Ox picture. And it's truly one window on what we call enlightenment. And I'm going to stop there. I've talked a lot, and see if this has generated some questions or comments. Keith, are you raising your hand? Go ahead.
Sure, thanks. I've found that when I touch on this, sometimes it happens. Some of it's based on a memory of what it feels like from the cushion. So I bring that memory in, and then it helps bring it back to life. The other piece I was going to mention was where I notice it physically is that my core is settled. through this part of my body. It's not just a head thing. My core is settled. And the other day I played golf and I shot a nearly perfect score, and I never had any tension in the core. It was just smooth and flow was it, exactly. So I don't know if you have any comments on that, but that's my experience.
Well, I agree with you, Keith, that your core feels particularly calm, and it's as though whenever we've opened one of these windows that you could say all the chakras are in alignment, and that there's an easy flow from the crown to the root chakra. And I also agree that on the cushion, one of the tools that I bring out of my own toolbox is to remember samadhi, or to remember what it feels like to open up the west window or the north window or the south window. Or I try to remember what was that feeling like, and that becomes like a seedling for rebirthing the experience. So I agree with you on both of those points. Other questions, Annie?
Thank you, Genjo. When I really appreciated when you were talking about this samadhi, because it sounds like, wow, I want that. That sounds great. And when can I remember that I felt that way? And it takes so much work sitting on the cushion. For me, it takes a lot of work sitting on the cushion to get samadhi. I mean, maybe a few times I could remember if I think about it a while, but I don't even want to think about it. I just want to be in that moment, and I suppose I can relate it to like making art sometimes. I would get in that state. But not often, not often. There's a lot of work involved for me. This is just for me, and I think a lot of it has to do with like historical ancestral baggage that I carry. Maybe, maybe not, but I'm beginning to think so more. And the personal experiences I've had lately, which were very traumatic. So I'm trying to not be so fearful and be more open. And I think to be gentle with myself is also a very good practice to feel that, to generate that kind of samadhi instead of doing the dishes as a chore, right? Sometimes, but when I think about it differently, it can become something as a practice.
You're
I
right
sure would
on.
like to ride a bicycle without my hands, but I'm working on balance right now. Thank you.
Okay. So, Annie, you're totally right that it's practice, and converting more and more things into our daily lives, that ordinary daily life, that are samadhi opportunities. I'm not saying you'll have samadhi doing the dishes, but it's a samadhi opportunity depending on how you approach it. Sweeping the floor is a samadhi opportunity. Working in the garden is a samadhi opportunity. Walking in the forest is a samadhi opportunity. So those kind of things. Sitting by the beach is a samadhi opportunity. And it does take practice. Again, since we are this most ingenious and complicated composition of stardust in the whole quadrant of the galaxy, it takes practice. The trees and the rocks don't need this practice. We need the practice. They're naturally just doing a samadhi with no thinking whatsoever. And the moon and the stars and the sun and the plants and most of the animal kingdom. We need practice. We really do need practice. And you're so right to say that we often feel it when we release ourselves in some sort of artistic activity, that it begins to sing. So I'm practice the piano every day, not very often. Not very long because I don't have a lot of time. But on occasion, when the music just flows, I can feel that moment of samadhi where, it becomes a very melodic, and it's pleasant not just pleasant to my ears. It's just pleasant. And this playing a piece with samadhi is just so rich. So anywhere that we can find that samadhi and spread it around to make more and more opportunities for samadhi in our daily lives is going to be a real advantage. And it is practice. And what doesn't interfere? Indeed, our karmic baggage interferes with everything. And samadhi is a way to, for example, here's a great one. When I have got caught by my anger or some other discomfort like anger, very often I'll go clean the bathroom, or I'll go clean the refrigerator, or I'll go mow the lawn or something, because doing some activity where I can just practice losing myself in the activity, I can, my anger or whatever it is that is a disturbance can be processed without so much analysis. It just resolves, kind of grinds and resolves itself through the practice of mowing the lawn or cleaning the bathroom or cleaning the refrigerator. So I'll throw myself into practice because I don't want to overanalyze, my emotional or my complicated state. It will kind of grind and resolve itself if I throw myself into practice.
Genjo, there's a comment in the notes. Gudrun, do you mind if I read your note? Good. Gudrun says, Genjo, why does this feel as if it is too easy to me? Seems like one should work harder, maybe suffer more, give more effort altogether to archive that feeling, or to perhaps to achieve that feeling. Is it enough to just walk in the sunshine or the rain like today, or to flow in my work in gardening and cooking? Great question.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's not, what is it? Let's not look a gift horse in the mouth kind of thing. If it's coming easily, great. Let's not complain about that. It doesn't always come easily. And depending on how complicated or messed up your life feels in the moment, it doesn't feel like it comes easily at all. On other times, it just seems to be so natural as water flowing downhill with no effort whatsoever. And just enjoy that, soak it up, because you're going to need it. There are the 5 remembrances in Buddhism, which are an expansion on the first noble truth. Remember, there are going to be the pains of old age, and in fact, growing pains of all kinds. Remember that there's going to be a measure of sickness in this life. Remember that that you're going to that they're going to die. That the dying process is just around the corner, and that remember that you're going to lose everyone and everything should you live so long. And so also remember that you can't escape the consequences of your actions. And remember that if more of your actions are in samadhi, meeting the rest of those remembrances that we can't escape is going to go much smoother. So the more you bank samadhi, the more you have in your storehouse for when the trials and tribulations get thick.
Genjo,
Yeah.
this is Lydia.
Hi, Lydia.
Hi.
You're on the iPhone?
Yeah, I've got a camera problem. Genjo, do you catch samadhi or create samadhi? And there was a mass shooting in Seattle. One of our children in our family was killed recently. And my experience feels like I catch it, or it comes to me. I don't create it. What do you think? What do you think about that? Do you think samadhi is like going through such a horrific event? I think I can only catch it. But do you think I'm wrong? Do you think,
No,
are we catching or making samadhi
it,
happen?
it's both and neither. You know, I hate to be obscure here, but practice,
It feels that way to me too.
yeah, you know, it's
I've been very lucky to have caught it so much,
uh,
but I don't think I made it.
correct. You don't make the plant grow in the garden. You don't make it grow. But with practice, you nurture the soil and you provide the water, and you are hoping that it gets enough sun, and you're planting where you think it won't get too much sun or too little sun. So you are we are like farmers of self, of a capital S self, and it will grow when we nurture the ground in which
Mm,
capital self can grow on its own. So that's a kind of grace. I don't control the growing, uh,
yes,
and I don't control when the flower is going to bloom. But if I take care of the soil, it's more likely to bloom readily and fully. So practice is taking care of the soil. It's not making it happen. Does that make sense?
yes. Yeah, it does. Thank you.
From the UK, I see Alex saying, Genjo, do you ever get on the bike and find that you can't take your hands off the handlebars? Well, if I'm riding somebody else's bike, it takes a while for me to find the right balance. But as soon as I'm riding a bike, Alex, for long enough, if it fits me in some way, then I am able to find my balance and take my hands off the handlebars. And I take my hands off the handlebars except anywhere I'm not in too much traffic. Because I want that feeling of flying. And as a child, my grandparents had a pool, and I'm told, I don't remember this, but I'm told that I could swim before I could walk, and uh, and I always loved to swim under the water. I mean, in fact, that's the only way I could swim across the pool was under the water. I didn't know how to swim on top of the water. I remember that. I remember that. And when I was in elementary school, they wanted to teach me how to swim on top of the water. And I thought, that's boring. Why would anybody want to do that? When you can swim under the water and have this sense of freedom of going in three dimensions, and to just feel buoyant in going any direction you wanted at any time, that was a kind of samadhi. I already knew, before I could walk, what samadhi was. This ability to swim underwater and go from one place to another in any direction you wanted to go. That sense of freedom is something that has long been with me, even in a rather trying childhood. I always wanted to get in the pool so I could feel free. I meant in your practice, what do you do when you find yourself unable to lose yourself in the activity? Well, I do more practice. I pick some kind of practice that produces some sort of immediate reinforcement that something's getting done. Like I say, I'll clean the refrigerator or clean the bathroom, or concentrate on cooking a meal, something that, or do some sort of chore that, like vacuuming or sweeping, that I can more easily lose myself in that activity. If I'm feeling pretty far away from samadhi, I want an activity that is very simple and work focused. So it works for me.
Oh, you were? Yeah. Sorry, I'm still at home. I'm just really slow today. I'm not sure quite what's going on. But
Can you hold just a moment? It was my spouse on the phone. I didn't want it to interrupt us. Any other questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Okay.
Um,
And then Mary.
yeah, actually, I was gonna say something, and then I saw what Pablo put in the chat is kind of related to that, which is there are two things that I do that help with samadhi. One is to have days of practice where I alternate formal practice with doing things, but doing things super, super duper mindfully. And because they really feed each other, like there's things you can learn from each, and then they kind of interact with each other. And then in terms of doing things mindfully, the thing that seems to make the biggest difference for me, no matter what it is to just be sure that that's the only thing I'm doing. Like I am so habituated to multitask all the time. And when I can keep myself from doing it, it takes tremendous, people have been talking about tremendous effort. That for me is the most tremendous effort, is to just do one thing at a time. But when I can do that, then it's just right there. I can really pay attention to what I'm doing.
And one thing at a time is a really great way to help to focus to entering samadhi. Is I'm not talking on the phone when I drive or trying to read the newspaper and also have a conversation. It's like do one thing at a time. On the other hand, there's juggling. And if you're a juggler, you have you're watching all of the balls and you've got them all up in the air. Or if you're, I remember these things you see on, this dates me way back on the Ed Sullivan show or something like that. People would spin plates on top of a stick. And how many plates could they spin on top of a stick? Well, they're kind of in samadhi doing multitasking. But they're doing one plate at a time, now one plate at a time, or one ball at a time. And so multitasking itself can be a kind of samadhi if you're really getting skilled at managing a number of plates at once. You don't have to exclude multitasking from samadhi as long as it's like juggling.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you. Thank you.
And Mary.
This is so rich, and I'm enjoying this so much. Thank you all. Everybody sure is teaching me. I I would love to hear the difference between Kensho and Samadhi. I would love examples of Kensho. I would love examples of Samadhi. That would help. Thank you.
Okay, Mary. So a deep samadhi is like a Genjo. In fact, these next four pictures are all sort of Kensho pictures. It's just like opening one kind of window or a different kind of window. By the way, it's all outside. There's no barriers out there. But this really does give you the flavor. Like, oof, oh, fresh air. It's like you're in a stuffy room and then this whoosh of fresh air and the sense of being outside and not stuck inside your sense of self. You get lost or disappear in the activity. And samadhi is definitely one window to deep kenshos that happen by grace and naturally. You don't know when the flower is going to open. You can't make it open. You don't know when the fruit is going to ripen and fall, but it does ripen and fall. And when it does, that's a kensho or an awakening. So when you have these kind of ahas, like, oh, that was so beautiful, the music just came out of me, or wow, look how beautiful that meal turned out. That meal was so great. If it's truly a masterpiece, it's a kensho. And Mary, the next three pictures are different flavors of Genjo.
Can I speak?
Go ahead.
I think I had a Kensho 2 days ago when I went to my garden and I took the camera with me, and I was so delighted. And it was, I said, it's my joy and my delight, my garden. And I practice a lot in the garden. I have a lot of work to do, but it unfolds just naturally. So, and it gave me such a joy. And now I see perhaps it was a Samadhi or a Kensho, and it makes me so happy.
I'm very happy for you. Yes, exactly.
Thank you. Yes.
Very deep Samadhi where time disappears, and it's
Yes.
like you lose yourself in the activity and the time disappears and you feel this great joy. That's a kind of Kensho in my book.
Yes, and also a gratitude towards the plants, towards the flowers, and
They show it too, don't they?
yes, and they give it freely. They just bloom. They nothing else. So that's so yes, so heartwarming.
Yes. So when you have that feeling of just blooming yourself, then you're watching the Samadhi of the world around you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Genjo, Tyson Bruce has his hand up.
Okay, Tyson.
Hi, Genjo. Question, if you're teaching someone, are there any inquiry questions you might utilize if they seem to be disassociated and referring to that as samadhi, not really getting traction in what you're trying to teach or bring across?
Well, yeah. As soon as you try to grasp something, you're going away from something. If you try to hold on to samadhi, you immediately lose it. If I start thinking when I'm playing the piano, oh, that's beautiful, all of a sudden I hit a wrong note. It's not something you can think about or you can hold or you can keep or even that you even want to keep. It's something that you receive and release, and you're grateful for it. You receive and release and you're grateful for it. But it's not something that you can grasp or keep or make. On the other hand, without practice, it's like not tilling the soil. It's like you're not going to get a very good garden if you don't practice taking care of the soil. So it does require practice, but it's not something that you can grasp. It's not something you even want to keep. And anytime you try to keep it, or even say, oh, there it is, you're moving away from it. Is that somewhat answer your question?
Yeah, I understand exactly what you said. It just, it's a teaching modality to help someone with inquiry questions so that they're realizing the feeling or the presence or the essence rather than thinking that I've arrived or grasped something.
Exactly. So, my instruction always is lose yourself in the activity. And in the case of sitting, it's lose yourself in sitting, breathing, and listening. So just take your seat, breathe slow, gentle, whole breaths, and listen on all channels of perception to the symphony of now. Just be an observer. Mary.
Is there such a thing as being a samadhi junkie?
Yes, there is such a thing as being a samadhi junkie. If you're working at it too hard, And even if you're achieving it too hard, you can, what? Achieve isn't quite the right word. I do know that the more samadhi in my day, the better the day goes. That's a given. But if I'm grasping or clinging or working too hard on it, I'm not doing other things that I need to do. And any of these four windows, if I just concentrated on the window itself all the time, I'm missing, first of all, I'm missing the other views. And secondly, I'm certainly missing leaving the house, which is the 10th picture. And I would only be repairing the house all day long. No, I've got to go outside. So it's wonderful to open the windows, and then you have to step out. And stepping out is kind of leaving it all behind in a way. Each one of these four pictures can be a roadblock, just like anything can be a roadblock. For example, we all need water, and water is absolutely wonderful. But if all you did was drink water, you would die, you would drown because you drank too much water. You literally can kill yourself with anything, including quote unquote samadhi. Carol, go ahead.
Yeah, following up on what Mary Lynn said, probably everybody has heard or met people who are sometimes referred to as bliss ninnies. Bliss ninny. And you know how frustrating it is to deal with a bliss ninny when you got to get serious about something. So I think that's. Do you see that as a?
Yes, it is. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And in any of these four windows, you can become a bliss ninny. It's true, it's obnoxious.
Okay. All right. I just wanted you to confirm that.
On the other hand, it's important to open up all these windows and then to step outside, and that's where, you know, step outside with no knowing and loving action.
I have a question about why is being a bliss ninny obnoxious? I'm curious.
Okay. Because you're getting stuck in a view rather than and your ability to have that certain kind of view or feeling rather than the application of being ordinary and humble and caring in a world of suffering.
So, in other words, it's like not taking responsibility for one's life.
Not taking responsibility for the care of all beings, not just your life.
Thank you.
We say in Zen that we are cultivating enlightenment, and then we ask you to throw it away. Any other comments or questions? Go ahead, Mark.
I have two questions. Well, one's a question, one's maybe a statement. The first one is so I asked a couple of weeks ago about positive samadhi, and I now realize that this is the correct stage for positive samadhi. So, what's the difference between positive samadhi and absolute samadhi? Is my first question. And like, I guess my statement, this might be a question too, but I feel like because I'm around kids all the time, they're kind of in a samadhi all the time. I feel like a very deep, like they don't really have a sense of self, and it's beautiful. But at the same time, they're not the most responsible people. So as like an adult, I'm the opposite, where I can't, like I make the excuse I can't be in samadhi because I have to carry myself forward. I have to do things, my job especially. As an ER nurse, I'm like that's my job, is to multitask and to um yeah, I don't even know where I'm going with this. I feel like sometimes samadhi in that case um might be a hindrance. I know it's not, but I feel like sometimes I have to use my ego to get things accomplished, maybe.
Oh, well,
Does
there's a
that make
lot.
sense?
There's a
Yeah.
lot in there. So the absolute samadhi is going to be more like the enso or the circle, and we'll get there. And it really um, there are two more windows that are more like the relative or the positive samadhi. You'll see that there are more positive samadhi windows, but the absolute is going to be the circle. So that's to answer that question. In terms of being an ER nurse and multitasking, this is that kind of multitasking, I hope, where you're spinning all these plates and you've got to keep them all going. And then you get into the samadhi of multitasking. And you're right that and that's a very sophisticated samadhi. I mean, it is a very sophisticated, complicated samadhi, if you can manage it. And the more that you have the simple kind of samadhi, like riding my bike without holding on to the hands or playing a piece of music and having the music flow, it's much simpler than being an ER nurse. But that's a more complicated samadhi, so it actually takes more practice to get up to where you can handle that kind of complicated samadhi. But it can be done, and I hope that you feel it on occasion or most occasions, because everybody benefits. You benefit, so the patients benefit. Everybody benefits. The other thing is that yes, the kind of simple samadhi, positive samadhi, is very childlike, and indeed, children don't need to be taught this. And yes, they're not very responsible yet in life. So it's a merger of recovering our childlike innocence and creativity and playfulness and merging it with, in an integrated way, with our adult world and responsibilities. Too often, we've just lost the playfulness and the ingenious, creative, simple, positive samadhi of childhood. And we need to recover it and bring it back and put it together with our adult world and responsibilities. And it's that integration that we're hoping for by going through this labyrinth of the Zen Ox pictures. Great question, by the way, Mark. Really great question. Very fruitful conversation. I know we can go all the way up to an hour and a half, but I'm inclined, unless there's more comments to be shared or asked, questions to be asked, to close in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, is it Chigo?
Hi, yeah. What comes to mind for me is concentration practice and joy, and just wondering how maybe those two interact with samadhi.
Great. So I'm going back to playing the piano right now. It takes a lot of concentration to practice a piece until it becomes until it comes to a place where I almost sometimes maybe disappear, and it becomes easy and flowing and so melodic, and my fingers just flow, and there's really no thinking or concentration anymore. But there was a lot of concentration practicing the piece, getting it to that place. So the concentration is needed in a complicated samadhi situation. There's a lot of concentration, but once you really get into the rhythm and it starts to flow, you lose yourself in it, and it's all of a sudden it's gone from tons of effort to effortless. There's like a switch that flips. It was tons of effort, and then all of a sudden it was effortless. And it's melodic, and a beautiful something is flowering and coming out. So they go together, and they're not the same thing.
Perseverance, it sounds like, goes together also with all of that. Otherwise, you can be doing all the concentrating and never get to beyond that struggle.
Right, exactly. And there looked like there was somebody put a comment up, Genjo, if you cannot grasp samadhi, can you really remember it? Is samadhi anyway an object? And is there someone as a subject during samadhi? Actually, there's no subject or object during samadhi. That's a pretty clear definition, that the subject and object disappear. So let's say, go back to music, the composer, the piano, the skillfulness of my hands moving across, my own sense of self, and the music that come out just merge, and there's no subject and object. So in deep samadhi, there's no subject and object. And the question is, if you can't grasp samadhi, can you really remember it? Oh, I definitely remember it. It's like, oh, that was wonderful. And it's a wonderful feeling. And I can use that wonderful feeling as a seedling for remember what that was like? How peaceful and free and open and clear it felt. Oh, that was a wonderful feeling. And that can become like a seedling for growing a new samadhi in whatever activity. I remember the gracefulness when it arose. So it's not something I can grasp, but it is definitely something I can remember. And I treasure those memories, and they can be used as little seedlings for new samadhi. Is it Doreen? You unmute there.
There I go. Thank you. This entire thing has been so wonderful. But I was thinking about what you and Mark were talking about, and that the playfulness of childhood and being able to recapture that or be able to feel that. And in 2016, when I first was attending this Zen center, and I was so impressed by the person leading it. And, I mean, he was serious, but he was also, fun. But over the years, I was doing online with him because they're in Arizona and I'm not. And one day he was telling us about a trip that he had taken, and he was describing what he had done, and he had had such a wonderful time with his friends, and they were riding bikes and doing some other things. And I was just so amazed that he was so obviously just so joyful about that. And I was thinking about how I don't know a lot of adults that can talk like that, you know, and it just really struck me. I think that example of seeing somebody that I really respect his intelligence and and everything, to have that kind of joy in telling us about an experience he had was just, it just feels to me like what you were talking about.
Feels to me too, Doreen, that's what I'm talking about. And there's just such a joy, and you know it when you're having it, and so then it's easy to remember, and to remember that's what's real, out beyond all of my complications and the complications of the world.
Yeah.
Back to Mary.
My idea of hell is dusting.
Well, convert it, Mary.
I did convert it yesterday. Yesterday, I remembered a Kensho that I had. So I took my Kensho into dusting.
Excellent.
And I thought, I'm going to be Zen about this dusting or die.
There you go.
You know, Albert Camus said, hell is other people. Wrong. Hell for me is dusting.
Okay, well, and you're converting it. That's excellent. That's exactly how to do it.
So so if we're Zen, we're also alchemists, right?
Yes, we are alchemists. That's correct.
Okay.
Exactly, in that exact way.
I'm slow, but I'm getting it.
All right.
I'm writing the act slowly.
All right, very good. Well, are we feeling complete? And next time we'll take the Zen Ox picture number 7, which is called Ox Forgotten, Self Alone.
Very good. Genjo, thank you so much.